So we're going to get started with conflict management, and we went around and asked everyone who has a team who's working solo. It sounds like most people are working solo right now. I have a team of 30 people, and so they are spread across the US in different markets, and we clearly have to work on conflict management because people are individuals, right? No one is the same. People are not going to be thinking the same. But what I want people to understand is that conflict is not always bad if you know how to manage it. So welcome, the real DJ. Welcome, welcome.
I can say conflict.
Okay, I bet.
That's one thing they teach in nursing school, and I think I got conflict down.
Okay, so. Awesome. So I'll be calling on you to help us out a little bit. So the real DJ, are you, do you do DJing exclusively, or do you do other things?
I'm a DJ, I'm a producer, and a CEO of 55th Street with Detroit.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're talking a little bit about conflict management. Just to reset the room, I'm Lainika Johnson. I own TrashLogic. I have 30 employees across the US. We have 4 markets. And I do this class every week on Fanbase, and then my subscribers can join us on Zoom. So we are just getting started, and I just want to always know who's in the room. I always encourage everyone to share some love with each other. When people share their story or they contribute to the conversation, please give them some love. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So conflict, the first thing, now remember, you guys, take notes, take notes, take notes. I can't say that enough. So creating a conflict-ready culture, what does that mean? Creating a conflict-ready culture. Anyone have any idea what it means to create a conflict-ready culture?
Yeah, I'm gonna just shoot it out there.
Okay.
Just prepare yourself for the worst, so you always have a backup plan with the solution ready.
That's pretty good. That's pretty doggone close. So the thing about conflict is that it's going to happen, right? So what you said is exactly right. Assume that it's going to happen and be ready for it. So a conflict-ready culture already has something in place. So I always encourage any CEO, any small business owner that's going to build a team to create a behavioral contract between themselves and their employees or their partners or their team members. So what does a behavioral contract look like? This is the part where you guys take notes. So a behavioral contract, the first thing you're going to say is that we deal with each other respectfully in meetings, emails, and in all communication, right? So that sets the tone. If you create a behavioral contract, everyone knows what's expected. We deal with each other respectfully in meetings, emails, and other communications. This is actually an item on the behavioral contract, okay? The second thing is we talk to each other, not about each other. We talk to each other, not about each other. And then the third thing is you have 48 hours to resolve any conflict on your own and bring it back to the team with an update. The fourth thing is we build on ideas here, not tear them down. We build on ideas here, not tear them down. And just a side note, the word is ideas. I hear a lot of people say ideals. Ideals is something different. And that's just my little grammar Nazi side note. I have to say that because I always see people on social media saying, oh, I have a great ideal. It's an idea, IDEA. So we build on ideas here, not tear them down. Does anybody have anything else that they would add to a behavioral contract? What do you guys think of those things?
Lainika, can you give us number 4 again?
Yep. So number 4 is we build on ideas, not tear them down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To answer your question, what I think about that list, I think that is the best way to go. And that's something that we don't always consider as CEOs or as business owners. Like you said, a lot of people know how to manage themselves or run themselves, but they don't know how to run a business.
Correct, correct. So creating a behavioral contract makes it simple, right? That way you don't feel like people don't feel like you're picking on them. You just pull that out. I always say, if you guys were here 2 weeks ago, I think we talked about, and Shannon, I don't know if you were here, Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 weeks ago, we talked about creating SOPs, standard operating procedures.
I missed that one.
Okay, so the reason that we talked about that is because so many people go into business and they just start. They don't have anything in place for people to follow. So if you fall ill, if you're sick, if you can't give people direction, what do they go back to? What do they use so that they can continue to run your business the way that you would run it? This is just another example of that. Having a behavioral contract allows you to pull something out. So people don't feel that it's something you just came up with off the top of your head. This is something that we use in our business to deal with conflict. This is not specific to you. It's not because you came in here and created a bunch of drama. This is anytime we have conflict, this is how we deal with it. So creating a behavioral contract that you have that you can constantly refer to will help you keep things on track. And it also, because we're individuals too, right? We're human, we have our own emotions, we have the way that we feel about things. It keeps you from becoming emotional about the situation as well. Because a lot of times it's easy for us to say, oh my God, they're so toxic, they're so crazy, and not look at ourselves and think about how toxic and how crazy we sound. So, you know, some self-accountability, but this allows us to be able to manage conflict, not only with other people, but with ourselves. So create a behavioral contract. That's how you create a conflict-ready culture. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to keep the lines of communication open. Keep the lines of communication open. What does that look like? Anybody want to tell me in their business or in their world what open communication looks like?
I feel like it's just like if you got something to say, just say it. You know, it's just clearly.
Very
That way,
good.
you know, there's nothing that you can't say behind somebody's back. It's all cleared up.
Correct. So keeping the lines of communication open means that you address the problem, right? You're addressing the problem, not the person. A lot of times we're not taught as we grow up how to deal with conflict. So the first thing that we do is attack the person, attack their personality, you know, attack them instead of attacking the problem. So address the problem. And then you want to bring the team together. So one is to address the problem. Two is to bring the team together to resolve the problem, not to resolve the person, but to resolve the problem. I'll give you guys a perfect example. I had an issue when I was very young. You know, I'm 47 now, but so imagine this was 20 plus years ago. I was in my early 20s and I worked for Sprint, and I had a boss that was very, very inept when it came to conflict management. So she and I had an issue, and instead of her having a conversation with me about the issue that we were having, she brought the whole team in, which is the opposite of what I'm suggesting. So I'm saying bring the whole team in to deal with the problem. She brought the whole team in and had them tell me what they didn't like about me. So you can imagine how that went. Everyone was uncomfortable. Somebody called HR and she got fired from that experience. I don't know if you guys agree, but that wasn't the way to handle a conflict with an employee. So you always want to deal with what the issue is. So how do you do that? When you bring the team together, you want to create a specific solutions-based agenda. Specific solutions-based agenda. So what is a solutions-based agenda? A solutions-based agenda is literally what it sounds like. You're going to create the agenda for the meeting, and you're going to address first what the problem is, and then you're going to ask everyone for a solution to the problem. And you're going to go around the room because you're leaving the lines of communication open. And this is awesome because what you have is a conflict or a problem that's going to turn into a brainstorming session that can lead to innovation. A lot of teams get better, a lot of companies grow through conflict. And this is when conflict can be good, because now you have an ability, an opportunity to brainstorm with the entire team about what you can do to solve this problem, but also to prevent it from happening again in the future, correct? Has anyone been in a brainstorming session like that before? And can you tell us about your experience?
Yes, it was actually quite interesting because, at first it was a little, I wouldn't say heated, but people did vocalize how they felt. But then over time, we did establish a common ground, and people had poured into the creativity, and it was actually a pretty dope experience over time.
Awesome. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Anybody else have an experience like that?
Can you ask the question one more time? I want to make sure my answer matches.
Okay, I'll go back over what we were just talking about. So I see that we have some new people in the room, so I'll reset the room. We're talking about conflict management and teams. So many entrepreneurs just start businesses and they don't really give a lot of thought about how they're going to manage the business as they grow. So right now we're talking about keeping the lines of communication open and how to bring the team together to resolve issues. So creating a specific solutions-based agenda so that you can address the problem and not the person. So the question that I asked is, has anyone been in an environment where there was a conflict and instead of having a big argument about the problem, everyone came together and brainstormed about a solution to the problem? And how did that work out? And what did that lead to? Have you ever had that experience?
I've had so many experiences I can't even recount. I can only say as of recent, getting to already having solutions in place before it becomes a big issue and a big problem. And for me, I'm a communicator, so that means no matter where I am at on the pyramid, I'm communicating with every level of the pyramid, because for that for me establishes that trust.
Mm-hmm.
So that everybody in the team knows that, oh, this person is going to communicate, and then everybody else follows suit, and then begins to say, hey, I'm going to communicate as much as this person, so I'm seeing that they're having success and they're not having any conflict. They're happy when they're whatever task, job duties, or whatever that they're doing. And so like they know this right away. Oh wow, she communicates. You know what I mean? So if I have a question, I'm gonna say, hey, I noticed this, and that, A, B, and C. Well, I don't want B to get misconstrued with C. So I'm going to communicate this so that it doesn't get there. Oh, wow, it's not even C at all. I'm so happy that you said that, so that I don't have to think. They're going to think, because everybody's comprehension levels are different, and how people convey and understand what you said versus how they meant it, even in a professional. So it's like when you communicate, you say, you're putting out there, okay, it's this, that. And you're making sure everybody's on the same page, and y'all staying in the pocket together as you're moving through whatever the case may be. And so I noticed, because what I ran into was an issue with a girl that was training me. It really wasn't an issue, it was just a reality that she didn't really want to be there anymore. When I stepped in, she noticed I was older, I had quite a bit of experience, and that was her first job. So she was like, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in. And she's a great girl, nothing against her, but she knew automatically, okay, well, I've been kind of wanting to go anyway. This is her shoes, let me go ahead and train her up. So during that process, while she was making that transition, I didn't want it to be any resentment or anything like that. So we really got close. And I went with her comfortability with expressing and showing me different ways that the systems were done and the job role. So because I was willing to take her pace instead of saying, hey, I know this, that, because I've been doing this for many years, I turned ego all the way off and became a student. And so this girl, 10 years younger than me, and she respected that so much that even though yesterday was her last day, and honestly, I knew that if I didn't do it that way, it was going to be conflict. And I could tell these things right off when I meet somebody. And, because I did it that way, her last day was yesterday, and she's like, oh man, we gotta hang out and get lunch, and I just want to see you again. I just want to talk to you. So that's how you create the fire from catching. Like, you smell the fumes. Yeah. And you don't want that. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing. That's all. That was wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like you have a great way of communicating with team members. So what I find is that there are 5 different ways that we deal with conflict in companies in general. So if you have a regular job now, or whether you are building your own team, this is something that I want you guys to remember and to write down. So there's 5 ways that we can deal with it.
there's the first stage is denial, right? So we just deny that there's a problem. No, it's not a problem, right? Somebody will say, hey, you know, something going on. No, everything's good. That's not getting you anywhere, right? If you're creating a conflict-ready culture, denying that there's a problem just means that the problem is going to get worse. Just like B. Jones was just saying, you're just ignoring the fire. It's going to burn your house down. Avoidance. So yeah, there's a problem, but I just don't want to deal with it. A lot of people are conflict averse, right? A lot of people are conflict averse. A lot of people do not want to deal. And you'll know if you're conflict averse if you're in a relationship with someone and you tend to just avoid bringing things up because you don't want to have a fight, right? That's the same thing at work, same thing in your business. There are people that are conflict averse, and that is not the way to deal with things. So avoidance is not the way to deal with it. Capitulation. What does capitulation mean? Capitulation means basically you acquiesce. You know there's a problem. You feel strong about your position, but you don't want to cause any problems. So you just say, look, I don't agree with you. So we're going to agree to disagree, and we'll just do it your way, right? We'll just do it your way. Even though you know, or you feel very strongly that that is probably not the right decision, that going their way is probably not good for business, but you just don't want to create waves. You think that that'll just smooth things over, so you just acquiesce, right? So capitulation is another way people deal with it. Domination, imposing your will on your team, saying, no, it's my way or the highway. We're going to do it this way. So doing it that way, what do you think that creates? That creates straight up toxic environments, right? If you have a domineering boss, you have a domineering person on your team, nobody wants to work with that person. That just becomes straight toxicity all the way around. Nobody wants to come to work. Nobody wants to have any conversations. Everybody's shut down. And you know how you'll know if you created a toxic team? The morale is in the toilet. Everybody's focused on the issues instead of the work. And other people can see it. Your customers, the good employees, they can see it and they want out. They don't want anything to do with it because it starts to spill over into everything else that you do, right? It starts to spill over. People start to quit. People don't want to deal with it. Customers are like, hey, you guys figure that out. I don't even want to be a part of it. It just doesn't seem like a good environment for me to be involved in. I remember being in, I don't know where it was some restaurant, and the server and the host got into an argument right in front of me, right in front of my table. And I'm sitting there just watching them go back and forth about how she was putting too many people in his section and he wanted to go home at a certain time. And all of that was just acted out in front of everyone. So I said, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna leave. It seems like he doesn't want to serve this section, and I don't want my food to be affected by that. So I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna go somewhere else. And that's, you know, on a very small level, but imagine that in your business. Imagine if your customers can feel that there's tension, right? So denial, avoidance, capitulation, and domination. The fifth way that it should be dealt with, or that it is dealt with, that is the best way, is collaboration. And that's what we're talking about when we go back to creating conflict-ready cultures and keeping the lines of communication open, creating a specific solutions-based agenda. So just kind of recapping before we go on, what have we learned so far in this conversation? Anybody have anything that stuck out to them that they will remember after this conversation is over?
I say everything. It's a lot that I didn't take into account when running a business, having a team, orchestrating meetings and stuff like that. So the fact that we talked about all of this, I got all of it in mind. So everything.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I'm loving your suggestion about creating a specific solutions-based agenda and really just setting aside the time to be intentional about whatever the issue is and getting everyone involved so that the solution can be created as a team. I love that. I'm even going to use that in my family life. This good stuff, Lainika. I love this.
Amen. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
I just, I'll wait. I want to make sure Sharon's done.
I'm good.
I just wanted to say that I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for you. I've just been in the room a hot minute, but just how you communicate, the resourcefulness. I'm just very grateful for you being on the space, and I'm looking forward to getting in earlier. It's been a morning. It's always a morning, I have like 3 littles, but I'm really appreciative for you taking the time out to share and just be powerful, and I love that, and I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. I love to share, this journey that I have been on. It hasn't always been easy, but it's always been enlightening, right? So when I started this company, I said, I'm going to make $1 million. I know how to make $1 million, right? But I made $1 million a lot faster than I expected to. And then I said, what the hell? What am I supposed to do now?
Oh my God.
Right. So then I had to figure it out. I said, okay, so now what? Now what do I do? So let me go find somebody who can tell me what to do. And what I learn, I feel that I need to put back out. To whom much is given, much is required. So if I learn it, I'm going to give it out, because there's other people that need to go on this journey too with me. It's not just me. So this is not, I just don't believe that we're here for ourselves. We're really here to bless other people. God put us on this earth so that we can bless his people. It's not, nothing that we get is for us. Everything that we get is for others. So anyway, that's just, a little side note. So thank you guys all for being here. I'm like super excited to do this every week, and I'm glad that you guys keep coming back every week. For me, it's just a lot of fun, and it's a blessing to me to be able to share. So going back to the 5 ways that we deal, I just want to make sure everybody got this in their notes: denial, avoidance, capitulation, domination, and collaboration. Does anyone have any questions about the 5 different ways that we deal with conflict?
I like the idea that you said, that you expressed about the capitulation, because I was sitting, when you said it, I looked it up, because it's like vocabulary be vocabulary. Anyway, so I was like, okay, what is that? And I'm not, it's funny because being able to put words to some of these things we experience in the professional space day to day, it's freeing. It's like, okay. And I realized, like, I'm a master of that. Like, I really am a master in my space of turning on my feminine energy and utilizing my feminine energy to allow a person to know that I'm not a threat, so that I can get them to tell me or give me the information that I need to get without them knowing that I got it. And then I come back later and they're like, whoa, this is a different person. I'm like, well, I am who I need to be around who I need to be. But actually in my space, I really am a boss. And you just, you know what I mean? So they're like, whoa, you know what I mean? And but starting off and getting to know someone and understanding how to yield is so important. Mm-hmm. But also understanding not to be to have anybody walk all over you.
Right.
So it's a delicate balance, and so many people have not learned how to do this in the workforce environment that they find themselves so burnt out, so over it. I've always kind of simultaneously been an entrepreneur while in the workforce, and I've learned that the beauty in coming and showing up as authentically as yourself. Mm-hmm. And so now this year, I was like, I'm not code switching. If whatever you get is whatever it is. And in me coming into a new career, switching careers this year and coming into a new workspace with mostly women, and them seeing me standing in my truth, they have just been floored. Like, wow, you can do that. You can really just be you. And they felt at home. So it's so important to stand up as yourself in your environment, no matter where it is, because
and create that environment for everyone else to be able to be themselves.
The biggest thing for me was that I realized that nobody was telling me that they were just, so floored and so affected. They just weren't saying anything. So I'm like, okay. Right. And then one day I come to my office and somebody bought me a Scooter's gift card. Somebody bought me some M&Ms, and they're just like, we're just so happy you're here. And I'm not doing anything special. I'm just showing up as myself. I'm not
Awesome.
kissing no ass. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just getting to know everybody's personality in this experience, everybody's roles, what is their job description, and just in me being me, I've been able to get more satisfaction in the workplace than I've ever. And I've been working since I was 17 years old. Really 10.
That's awesome. I'm going to give you guys the 6 steps to effective conflict management. All right, you guys ready? Hey, Black, welcome. So number 1, productive feedback. So when you're dealing with someone, you want to give productive feedback. What does that look like? Productive feedback is timely and it's specific. Timely and specific. Okay, so why is that important? Because uncertainty is a time and an energy drain. If you have people that you're leading, if you've ever had a boss and you remember that they were all over the place and they could never give you anything specific, then you felt drained. You felt like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm tired. I feel like I'm all over the place. I don't know what is expected of me. So make sure that the feedback is timely and is specific. So if someone does something that is counterproductive to the team, counterproductive to what your goals are, you want to address it in that moment. You don't want to wait, right? Address it in that moment so that it's timely. You don't want to wait 2 weeks from now and say, 2 weeks ago, because they're going to say, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. And then be very specific. This is what we're dealing with. Remember, we are addressing issues and not people. We're addressing the problem, not people. So make it timely and make it specific. Number 2, you want to get to know your team members on an individual level, okay? Each person is an individual, just like we are. So you want to go to lunch with them. You want to spend some one-on-one time with them. Find out what their needs are, what their motivations are, and what their ambitions are. Because this allows you to not just motivate the team, but to motivate every individual as well. So as you are trying to reach a goal within your team, you want to know what everyone's motivation is, because someone may be motivated by money. Someone else may be motivated by, time management, right? By their work-life balance. Someone else may be motivated by words of affirmation, right? That's when you're getting into love languages and things like that. So you want to learn about people and find out what motivates them, because everyone on your team is not motivated by what you're motivated by. I know for me, I'm motivated by results, right? I'm very, very results driven. So I want to see the end result, and that is what I'm working toward. I don't really care what I have to go through to get to the end result. As an example, I'm getting on a plane today because I got a call this morning and somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do yesterday. And I don't have time to figure out whether or not they're going to get it finished. I'm going to hop on a plane. I'm going to go get it taken care of. I'm going to make sure it's done so that on Monday, I don't have a problem. I'm results oriented all day, all night. But somebody else is not. The person who left it to be done, they're motivated by their work-life balance, and they felt like they had worked too many hours and they didn't finish, and they weren't going to because they needed to go home to their their family. So instead of fighting that battle right now, I'm like, look, I can hop on a plane in a couple hours. I'll go knock it out. I'll come back home. It'll be good, and then we don't have to have that conflict today. But I am going to address it. I'm going to address it. Okay, you may be motivated by that, but still, you had a responsibility. We'll address that later. But right now, I'm going to get it done. So find out what every single team member is motivated by, right? What's their ambition? What's going to get them to the finish line, and have them working with everyone. Number 3, communicate your expectations clearly. So there's no faster route to mistakes, misunderstandings, and missed deadlines than not communicating your expectations clearly. So I take responsibility for not telling this person that if you don't get anything else done, this one last thing has to be done before you go home. I take responsibility for that. I did not communicate that effectively. I gave this person a list of things to complete, and I assumed, like we do all the time, that it would just happen. And they decided that they would prioritize what they thought was a priority, right? So you want to communicate your expectations clearly, and don't confuse brevity with clarity, right? Don't confuse brevity with clarity. You assume that they get it, and you under-communicate your expectations, your requirements, and your deadline. Because you're like, they're an adult, they've been here, they get it, they know what we're doing here. And then when you don't get your expectations met, you're upset. The fastest route to mistakes, misunderstandings, and deadlines and missed deadlines is ineffective communication of your expectations. You guys get that? I said that a few times because I want you guys to get that. I want you guys to make a note of that. I want you to get it.
That's a word. That's a word. That's exactly what I needed to hear, because that was the issue that I was having. So yes, thank you.
All right. Number 4, work on conflict management. Really work on it. Assuming adults should know better and can work things out between each other is a mistake. Trust me, they won't. They'll start arguing, they'll start finger pointing, they'll start blaming each other. You want to anticipate that there may be a problem, and you want to discuss the problem and not deny the problem. That goes back to the 5 ways that we deal with it. You don't want to deny that there's a problem. You want to address it head on. Anticipate, oh, you know what? These 2 personalities might clash. And then you need to keep your eye on that. And as soon as you see that there may be an issue, you need to address that issue. Discuss it, don't deny it. And I'm going to repeat this again. You're discussing the issue or the problem, not the person, right? No, you always statements. No, your attitude is statements. It needs to be what the issue is. This is what the issue is. So this was the result of that being an issue, or this will be the result of that being an issue. So how do we resolve this issue? Okay, anticipate, discuss it, don't deny it. Number 5, you want to take the blame and share the credit. Take the blame and share the credit. I'm going to ask you guys real quick to ping people to the room. Just as an aside, I don't want people to miss all of this goodness. So that little plus sign at the bottom, you can ping people to the room. So you want to take the blame and share the credit. So what does that mean? Can anybody tell me how they interpret taking the blame and sharing the credit? Anybody want to jump in? Nobody knows how to share the blame. Take the blame and share the credit.
Yeah, taking the blame, sharing the credit. There was a situation I had a couple of years ago where I totally screwed up the project. And instead of, whenever I sat down and talked with my vice president about it, instead of pointing fingers and saying this person didn't help me out, or when I asked this person didn't help me out, instead of saying all that, I just said, you know what? I know I should have been more attentive than I was. I know if I really needed help, I should have reached out to higher management. That is, to me, that is what taking the blame for the team means.
Awesome. Yep.
Am I close?
Yes. Very good. Very good. So that's exactly what it is. It is, as a team leader, you're responsible for the overall results, right? I am responsible when my team drops the ball. And when they win, I don't need to take all the credit for it because they did the work. I need to share the credit. You know, when my clients say, oh my goodness, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. You completely turned my property around. I want to say, oh, you want to thank Jason. You want to thank Stephen. They're the ones that were on your property. They did a great job. Yeah, I led them, but they did the work, and that is what leads to that open communication. When you do have conflict, then your team can trust you because they know that you have their best interest at heart. You really want them to be successful. You want them to win. And then if something goes wrong, say we skip a property and we miss it that day. So just so you guys know, my company manages trash for apartment complexes. So say we miss trash that day on that property. Am I going to say, oh, Jason missed your trash? No, I'm not going to tell them that. I'm saying, I'm so sorry we missed your trash. I'm so sorry we missed your trash. And I'm going to call them and I'm going to say, hey, Jason, Stephen, it looks like we missed this property today. Do you have your route sheet? And they might say, oh no, we were rushing this morning. We didn't get a route sheet. And taking the blame looks like, oh, you know what? I apologize. We probably should have a route sheet already in your truck. Let's make sure you have a route sheet tomorrow. And just as a reminder, you guys don't leave without a route sheet before, you hit the road every day. So that's what taking the blame and sharing the credit looks like. Because always saying, better, you shouldn't leave without a route sheet, what does that do to the team? What can anybody tell me what you think would happen if somebody talked to you like that? You know damn well you're supposed to grab a route sheet before you get in your truck.
It kills morale.
Right. It kills morale. And they're gonna feel like, ugh, I can't even like talk to her. Like I'm gonna avoid those conversations. So what does it feel like when I say, oh, you know what, you guys, we need to make sure that you guys have route sheets in your trucks already. So tomorrow, if you guys don't see one, make sure that you let somebody know. What is that? How does that feel in comparison?
I make them feel supported.
Yeah, like we all make mistakes, you know, our bad, you know, together, our bad. Let's fix it, right? Let's fix it together. And I'm not perfect at it. You know, there's days that I just lose it, right? There's days I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? And I have to check myself, you know, oh, you know what? That's not going to make them want to come to work tomorrow. So let me fix the way that I address this issue. Right. So you know, every day is a learning process, and every day is growth for me as well. I am admittedly a very hard driver, right? I'm a driver personality. I am like, let's get it done. I don't care. I don't care about emotions. I don't care about feelings. Let's get it done. So I have to check myself, right, when I'm having those conversations, so that doesn't come across in my communication. I might be thinking it, but that's not the way that I can communicate to my team if I want them to keep coming to work every day. Anybody else relate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely relate.
It's really about also looking at the other person's perspective as well, and making sure that we stay in alignment so that the things can get done.
Right. So let's go back over the list. So if you guys missed anything, it's providing productive feedback, timely and specific. You guys got that? You guys wrote that down?
Yes.
Okay. Get to know individuals, right? So how many of you guys know that a team has a dynamic, but each person has a personality that leads to that dynamic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what happens is no team looks the same, right? You can be on 4 teams that do the exact same thing. They all have the same assignment, but those teams will look different based on the people that make up that team. That's what's going to make up that dynamic. So you have to get to know each person as an individual so that you can find out how you get to that final result. Number 3 is communicate your expectations clearly. I know Shannon said that that was a big aha moment for her, communicating expectations clearly, right? And if you guys...
Some brevity for clarity.
Yes. Yep. Don't confuse brevity for clarity. So if you guys are writing anything down, there's little nuggets in here you guys should be writing down. So that's one of them. Don't confuse brevity for clarity. And the other thing is there's no faster route to mistakes, misunderstandings, and missed deadlines than miscommunicating your expectations. Don't ever under communicate. Always over communicate. Okay?
I like that too.
All right. And number 4, you want to work on conflict management at all times. You want to work on it. You want to anticipate it, know it's coming. Anytime you put a team together, you know it's coming, right? So know that it's coming and have your behavioral contract in place so that when it comes, you can immediately turn to that. And then create your specific solutions-based agenda. And then you want to take the blame and share the credit. Take the blame and share the credit. And this is the last and final point. You want to leverage accountability. Leverage accountability. Anybody want to tell me what they hear when I say leverage accountability? No? So making sure that people are accountable and then leveraging the fact that they took that accountability. So when they take the accountability, what you do is you make them a leader in that space.
Okay.
So once somebody says, you know what, you're right, I'm going to take accountability for that, then you know that that's a person that is mature enough to be a leader, and you leverage that. And you say, okay, go ahead.
So now, what if that person is not someone who is wanting to take a leadership role?
When
How do you leverage in that instance?
So when I say you make them a leader, everyone's a leader, right? They don't have to have the title of a leader to be a leader. When I say make them a leader, that means you're going to let them lead the conversation out of that problem.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? So you're going to say, okay, so Shannon is going to take the lead on this conversation. So Shannon, how do you think we should address the solution to this? How do we get out of this? What does the end result look like? And then Shannon starts the conversation.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So that's today's class. I mean, there's a much larger class that I teach called Leading High Performance Teams. And that's, about a 4-hour class. We don't have time for that today, but I wanted to give you guys some tools and some strategies to deal with conflict. And I hope I was able to do that. Does anyone have any feedback today that they want to share with the room and before we leave?
Oh, no, this was very valuable. I can remember some of these same keys when I took my HRM class, and to see it made relatable, it just makes it more, because reading out of a book and then seeing actual tips is definitely better. So I really appreciate it. It's a great refreshment.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything they want to share with the group? Anything they learned from their own life or from today, or anything they thought about?
Hey everybody, it's Carla.
Hey Carla.
Carla, I have conflict because I didn't know this class was happening now, and I missed it. So let's talk about resolving that conflict. Let's get it in. Let's do it right now. Let's lay it out on the table. And
Well, the awesome thing about it is because you're a subscriber, I recorded it, so you'll be able to watch it back.
right, we'll need that recording ASAP, please. Hey, Miss Carla. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm even better than I get to hear your voice puppet. Oh, that's sweet.
Awesome.
Real quick, these are the 6 steps. What did you title this last section? The 6 steps.
Oh, just the 6 steps of dealing with conflict. So
Okay.
I'll go over them again. Productive feedback is number 1. Number 2, getting to know your team members as individuals. Number 3, communicating your expectations clearly. Number 4, work on conflict management at all times. Number 5, take the blame, share the credit. Number 6, leverage accountability.
I love it. This is good. Thank you.
Yay! I'm just so excited every time I get in a room with you guys. So thank you guys for coming back week after week and letting me share knowledge with you guys and share time, and you guys sharing your space with me. Thank you for making it a positive experience, right? I love that no one in here is ever arguing or talking down to each other. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Carla. Thanks,
Y'all have a great day.
Thank y'all. Kisses. Follow, subscribe.